everybody, welcome to my top 10 books of 2022. I'm going to be doing a top 10 books and the top worst books of 2022. For this video, I thought I would start positive and end on a negative. You know, I guess with that being said, let's go. These are in ranked order, so we're going to start off with 10 being the least, and then 1 being the most. The best book of 2022 in my opinion that I read. In 10th place, it's a fairly recent read, and that is We Hunt the Flame by Hassel Weisel. That's what it is, I remember. This is about a girl named Zafria. She is the hunter for her town, and then Nasser is the Sultan's son. So he's the prince of Arawaya. They are both looking for this magical a magical item that is going to help stop this force that has kind of taken over their kingdom. Zafria is trying to find this item and save her people and the rest of the kingdom, while Nasser is to take this magical item from Zafria and also kill the hunter. It was different. It was different, but like in the best way possible. I don't know. It's just like it's like a story that I've never really read about, and I was really interested in it through the whole time. Definitely one of the better fantasy books that I read this year, and I totally would recommend. I need to read the second book really badly because so far I love this book. I've been obsessed. In 9th place, we have It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is a book that I read at the beginning of this year, and I was like obsessed with it. I think I like read it in like 2 days or something. So It Happened One Summer is about this girl named Piper, and she's like a socialite in Los Angeles, and she's been kind of picking up a little bit of a stir. One day she actually finds herself ending up in prison for the night, and her stepfather is like, you know what, I'm tired of this. You need to go to your dad's old fishing town, and you need to learn some things. You need to grow up, basically. So he sends her off to this fishing town called Westbrook, I think. She's just there and she's like, ugh, this is gross and nasty. But she ends up kind of redoing her dad's old bar and kind of starts making a business. And she also meets this guy named Brendan. He's like a very grumpy fisherman. He's like, why is this LA socialite girl in our small fishing town? But then they kind of get to know each other, and it's really cute. And I don't know, the vibes in this were just so good. It kept me up on my toes. I don't know, this is like my first kind of real book with grumpy sunshine in it, I feel like, and I loved it. I just loved it so much. So yes, It Happened One Summer is going to be in my 9th position. Okay, so in 8th place, I have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is her new book that came out in 2022. This is about a girl named Nora. She's a literary agent, and she just loves the hustle and bustle of New York City. Like, she's grown up there and she's always loved it. And so she also kind of has like this nemesis, and his name is Charlie. He's like a rivaling agent slash editor. Basically, he kind of has like Nora's like dream job, and he's also very grumpy as well. So that is the romance, is Nora and Charlie. So also what happens is Nora's little sister Libby decides they haven't spent enough time recently, and she really wants to go away to this place called Sunshine Falls. It's a small town, and she just wants to have like a little getaway with her sister. And that's basically it. That's all I'm gonna give you, but it's just so good. It's so freaking cute. Loved the family aspect of like sisters and stuff, because I've never had a sister before, and I love that aspect. And I also loved the romance to this. I will say this again and again, Emily Henry makes the best banter, or has the best banter in like all romance books I've ever read. Her characters are just, I just love the dialogue. It's so funny. They're so cute. So yes, Book Lovers is gonna take the 8th spot. In 7th place is a duologies. Duologies and series are gonna count as one spot, just FYI. So in 7th place, I have the These Violent Delights duology. I don't own the Our Violent Ends book. I only own the These Violent Delights one, but this duology is amazing. It is a Romeo and Juliet retelling in Shanghai, China in the 1920s, and it's just so good. So Juliet and Roma are in rival gangs. They're like, they got some history. There's also another thing going on. There is like this mystery plague kind of going around, and it's turning these people, like if you get sick, into like monsters, and you start acting really strange, and then all of a sudden you just pass away. So they're kind of figuring out why this is happening, so they're gonna have to team up and kind of figure out what's going on in Shanghai. These Violent Delights I gave 4 stars. It's probably like 4.5 actually, now that I'm like looking back. But Our Violent Ends is 5 stars. I love this book. It wrecked me. I mean, if you know the story of Romeo and Juliet, obviously it's kind of like you know what's gonna happen at the end, but it was so good. I love the fantasy aspect of this with the sickness. I also really loved this book because it really goes into Shanghai at the time in 1920s, and Chloe Gong, the author, really talks about in her author's note that she really wanted to put the historicalness of the 1920s in Shanghai in Our Violet Ends, and you can definitely tell like people coming over, communist people coming over, and it's just, that book is so freaking good. This book is really good too. I really recommend this duology. It was so good. It tore my heart out. I really loved this duology. I definitely recommend. I recommend all of these. I don't know why I'm saying like I recommend, but that one's really good. In 6th place, I have The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. I read this book and absolutely adored it. It is so freaking cute. So this book is about this guy named Dev, who is an assistant producer of this reality TV show. It's kind of like The Bachelor, and it's also about one of the contestants named Charlie, who is the prince or the bachelor of this reality TV show. Dev becomes Charlie's new handler because his old handler just couldn't persuade him to do anything, and Dev was really good at like persuading people, so he became his new handler. This book is one of the best romances I have ever read. The problems are so realistic and they are so relatable. Like these are like real problems that like real couples go through like all of the time, and things that can happen. I love Charlie so much. He's my favorite person. I love Dev too. I think Dev was very relatable to me, and Charlie was just so freaking cute. So yes, I love this book. Also, the reality TV show aspect was just so good. It was so good. Now we are getting into my top 5 books. In 5th place, I have People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I read this, literally this is the first book that I read in January, and I was obsessed with it. I love this book so freaking much. It's about these 2 friends, Poppy and Alex, and every summer they go on vacation with each other, except one summer they kind of have a falling out and they haven't talked in like 7 years, 5 years, something like that. All of a sudden, Poppy's like, you know what? I want to reconnect with Alex again. And she kind of like, she's like kind of in a rut and stuff. And so she's like, you know what? The happiest I was when I went on vacation with my best friend Alex. So we need to reconnect. Well, Alex is got a wedding to go to that summer, and so they decided they should go kind of vacation before the wedding at, I think it's Joshua Tree. This is kind of very comparable to Every Summer After, pretty comparable to Love and Other Words if you like those books. I don't know, I really love the like shy boy extroverted girl, or like vice versa, extroverted boy shy girl kind of thing. Like I love that trope. I think that is just so, I don't know why it's so cute to me, and this was exactly it. But their banter is so freaking good. I absolutely loved this book, and I cannot wait for an Emily Henry book in 2023. I'm literally gonna poop my pants. I'm so excited. So in the 4th position, I have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I think about this book a lot, like an unhealthy amount of a lot, because there's just so much that happens. This is the equivalent of staying up all night when you're like 13 reading Wattpad. This is the exact same vibes I got, and I loved it so much. This book made me very nostalgic for when I used to read like Wattpad fan fictions at like 2 a.m. Things We Never Got Over is about this girl named Naomi who gets a call from her twin sister basically telling her like, hey, I really need you to come here, like I'm in some trouble. So she goes to this coffee shop where they're supposed to meet at, and she notices that she's getting like a lot of like strange looks and like nasty looks. She's like, I've never even been here, like why is everyone giving me nasty looks? And this guy comes walking in basically screaming at her, being like, you're not allowed to be in here, you know you're not allowed to be in here, like just going off on her. That guy's name is Knox and that becomes her love interest. She's like, wait a minute, I've never been here, I'm her twin sister, like I didn't realize. And so then that's how they kind of get acquainted. And she's also finds out that her twin sister has a daughter, so she's also taking care of the daughter because her twin decided to like skip town and stuff. So she's also taking care of her 9-year-old niece. So her whole life has just kind of been flipped upside down since she's been to this town, and it's so good. I loved every aspect of it. I love the single parent trope. I love the small town romance trope. I even liked Knox, which for a second I was like, okay, sir, I think I need you to tone it down. But like I started liking him a lot and I was like, okay, maybe I actually do like him. Maybe I do. There was something about this book that just was crack to me. It was Wattpad fanfiction at 2 a.m. That's the vibes I got, and that's what it was. It was so good. My third book is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Yes, I read this in 2022. I loved it. It's so weird because it's like I've never read a classic where I was genuinely so interested almost the whole time. And John Steinbeck is really, he's kind of known for like drawing out scenes to oblivion, being like, the roses are so red that it's the reddest rose of red rose you've ever seen. Like it's a kind of like that. He's very like descriptive scenery type author, but like I didn't mind it because there's so much shit happening in this book. Like it's insane. So if you don't know what East of Eden is about, it's like a retelling of Cain and Abel. We start out with Adam, and he is just, it kind of goes into like his like background a little bit, and then he meets Kathy. Kathy feels so much during this book. I don't know how, but this classic book really drew out a lot of emotions from me. Like I was like, how dumb is Adam? How nasty is Kathy? Like they are just like those characters are crazy. These characters are just so good. It's such a good story. In my second place spot, I'm also kind of throwing you a curveball, but like not really. I have I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This is Jeanette McCurdy's memoir. I'm a 2000s baby. I'm a 2001 baby. And so like in middle school, in junior high, probably just middle school, iCarly was like the biggest thing for me, and I loved iCarly. I love Sam. When I found out she came out with a memoir, I was like, oh my gosh, that's really cool. Obviously, I'm glad my mom died, but I'm like, huh, that's kind of strange. But this is genuinely such a great book. I've not really read that many memoirs before, but this book is so deep and it's so twisted. You can really tell that she has a passion for writing because of this book. I'm literally getting chills like just thinking about it. This book is crazy. Like this book is insane. She recounts a lot of her memories with her mom and kind of how her mom abused her. It's really the main focus of her mom because her mom had cancer, and so she was always like afraid that she would pass away anytime. So she lived for her mom basically because her mom wanted her to be an actor. It is so good. Even if you have not seen iCarly, I still recommend this memoir if you are into memoirs, or if you just want to hear a really crazy true story. Like I think this book was just so well done. So well done. My last book. This is the book that I probably will never stop talking about until the day I die. And that is the Defy the Night series by Bridget Kemmerer. This is sorry, this book's upside down. This is probably my favorite series right now. I read this on a whim and I was like, you know what, I'll read it. I'm so glad I did because I will not, like I said, I won't shut up about this. These books are so good. So Defy the Night is the first book. Defend the Dawn is the second book that actually just came out this year. So Defy the Night is about this kingdom that has kind of been plagued with sickness, and the only thing that kind of helps people get better are these things called moonflower petals. But moonflower petals are really hard to come by. They're very expensive. So Tessa steals these moonflower petals from the rich to give to the poor, and she's also doing this with her best friend Wes. So they are just feeling. It's like a Robin Hood retelling kind of. While this is all happening, the king and the prince are also kind of trying to figure out a way to help save the kingdom. They know there's a shortage of moonflower petals going on, so they kind of need like another way to figure out how to produce more moonflower petals. This is also a big matter to them, is because the king is also starting to get sick, so he needs to get some moonflower petals. So that is what Defy the Night is. It's in two perspectives. It's in Tessa's perspective and the prince's perspective. This is so good. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know what it was. I just love all of the characters. It was just so good. Like, I literally don't know how to explain it besides just go read it. I loved it so much. I'm obsessed with this series, and if you need a new fantasy series, I really recommend this. Those are my top books of 2022. Let me know, what are your top books of 2022, or your top 5, or your favorite book, or I don't know. Stay tuned for the worst books of 2022. I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. I love doing that anyways. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.